Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to a Tuesday night right here on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Tonight we do a thing we call Healthy Love. Got to love it. Yes. I want to say big ups to each and everyone locked in right now. Those on TuneIn Radio, the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. Across the pond, One Harmony Radio over there in the UK. Top of the morning to you guys over there. How you doing? Big ups to those on WGLRO, with the home of the Don and Walker Morning Show, taking you from the sheets to the streets, from Detroit to Denmark and everywhere in between. Big ups to you guys over there. Those locked in on PEMGTV.com, and of course right here at the home of the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, KevinStew.com. Glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you. You have my word. I wouldn't even try. Kicking it off with an energy level at 2000%. This is Iowa George. It's called Water Blessings.
Coming from for your blessings, coming from for your blessings, the water blessings, coming from for me. I am blessed. Raise your hand if you want to bless. 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 You have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Open this iron gate. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Everybody come. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. The water blessings. Coming from for your blessings. I am blessed. Come on. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. The water blessings. Coming from for your. I am blessed. Come on. We go bless the place. We go bless this place. We go wash the place. We go wet the place. We go change the place. We go change the face. We go clean this place. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Open the people gate. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Everybody come. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. The water blessings. Coming from for your blessings. I am blessed. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. The water blessings. Coming from for your. I am blessed. Raise your hand if you want to bless. 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 You have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. In God you have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Everybody come. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. The water blessings. I am blessed. Coming from for your blessings. Coming from for your blessings. The water blessings. Coming from for your. I am blessed. Come on. We gon' bless this place. We gon' bless the place. We gon' bless the place. We gon' wet the place. We gon' change your face. We gon' change your face. We gon' bless this place. Hey, you have to have faith. 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 Open the people gate. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Open the people gate. You have to have faith.
You got to have what?
You have to have faith.
You got to have some faith.
You have to
I want to say thanks to Pulse Media Group for sponsoring this segment of the show.
open the people gate. You have to have faith.
When being in the moment is priceless.
You have to have faith.
Dial 754-999-6020 or visit pulsemg.com.
You have to have faith. You have to have faith. Open the people gate. You have to have faith. You have to have faith.
And when you get get in touch, just say, hey, listen, I heard about y'all on the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew. What can you do for me? What moment can you capture? What moment? Here is my priceless moment. Whether it be the moment that you are streaming, yeah, like what I'm doing right now. It could be the moment that you want to get captured in stills. Paul C Media has a solution for you. Go show your and capture your blessings, yeah? Those priceless moments. How you doing? How are you all doing? I want to invite you to jump into the Stew Pot. The Stew Pot is the interactive portal on kevinstew.com. Some people call it a chat room, but we're fancy. Right here on kevinstew.com, we're fancy. We call it the Stew Pot. Yes, get it right. Don't get it twisted. Or you can call, you can text 773-789-STEW. Number, and the line is always open. Of course, those of you who are overseas, you want to get in touch, Skype. Kevin.stew on Skype. It's an easy way to get in touch. You can also email me. You can go to kevinstew.com and scroll down to the bottom of the page and drop me a line there. Send me a message through the website. I get it in my email. Or you can email me directly. djkevinstew@gmail.com. So many ways to get in touch. Alright, so for those of you who saw my post on social media earlier, we're looking at some, it's one of those things that you always need to have, not always want to have, but need to have, because it is life. Water. And when water becomes potentially poisonous, that's a problem. Because now you're poisoning a source of life. Yeah, it may sound odd, it may sound far-fetched, but in reality, it's very real, and it's very true. Each and every year, red flags over toxic drinking water are raised across the US. And it happens because of reasons varying from location to location. One major problem is aging water pipes. And these have become an increasingly common source of toxic exposure. Just, was it earlier today or was it yesterday? So many things are happening in the days that they'll seem to run into each other. But in Fort Lauderdale, there was a boil water order in effect. Now, it had to have been, 2 months ago, that there was a major, damage to one of the water mains. It caused a lot of areas in the greater Fort Lauderdale area to be under boil water advisory. And here it was today, a more localized, but still, it happened. In a 2013 report, the American Society for Civil Engineers warned that most of the drinking water infrastructure across the US is nearing the end of its useful life. But little to nothing has been done to address the crumbling infrastructure in the years since 2013? We're in 2019 now. What makes matters even worse is that recent media coverage make it clear that many toxic water in incidences are covered up and hidden from the public, which really and truly at times has led to lethal consequences. Now, a cover up like that is criminal at least is what you can call it. The least you can call that is criminal. Would anybody get convicted of it? Apparently no one has up until now, and I guess no one will. Basically, if you're counting on your local water utility to warn you about problems with your water supply, then you could be placing your own health at risk. Your best bet is to be proactive. Make sure you're filtering your drinking water, and you're doing so to the best of your ability, no matter where you live, no matter what they say. In a September 25, 2019 report, so this is less than a month old, the Office of Inspector General, the OIG, which is part of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, but still an independent, as it receives separate funding. It criticizes the EPA and water utilities around the country for their failure to provide consistent and accurate reporting of drinking water risks. The OIG's investigation identified several problems that could place public health at risk from contaminated water supplies, and these include some primary agencies, which are agencies with the primary responsibility for enforcing water regulations. Some primary agencies are not consistently fulfilling their responsibility to enforce public notice requirements. Specifically, violations are not consistently reported and tracked, and public notices are not consistently issued. The EPA's oversight protocols do not cover all public notice requirements, and as a result, some primary agencies do not know whether the public water supply systems under their supervision are properly notifying consumers when safety violations occur. All public water systems are not held to the identical compliance standards by the EPA and primary agencies. Primary agencies use inconsistent methods to record violations and identify problems with public notice in the National Drinking Water Database. Because the EPA's information about public water systems compliance with public notice requirements is incomplete, the agency cannot properly monitor compliance. The EPA's public notice guidance given to primary agencies and public water supply systems is out of date and does not fully reflect current regulations. One more. Public water systems lack accurate guidance about current tools available to provide public notices and may therefore miss opportunities to efficiently inform consumers about drinking water problems. Now, When you look at things like that, relating to something as basic as drinking water, you really have to scratch your head and go, According to the OIG report, we made 9 recommendations, including that the EPA require primary agencies to comply with oversight requirements related to public notice and to follow data reporting requirements. We also recommend that the agency updates public notice guidelines, define the acceptable methods and conditions under which notices can be delivered electronically, and improve public notice violation information in the National Drinking Water Database. Did you even know there was a National Drinking Water Database? The EPA provided acceptable corrective actions and estimated completion dates for 6 recommendations. These recommendations are unresolved, with resolution efforts in progress. Because the action official for these recommendations, the Deputy Administrator, did not respond to our draft report. Now, isn't that a head rollable offense? Or am I thinking a little bit too much into this? The 3 recommendations that remain unresolved include 1. Requiring EPA regional administrators to comply with public notice requirements. 2. Requiring regional administrators to verify that primary agencies within each region fully implement oversight of public notice responsibilities. And 3. Directing each region to require primary agencies to adhere to requirements for accurate quarterly entry of public notice violation data into Safe Drinking Water Information System. 3 things. Recommendations that remain unresolved. I would think that these recommendations should be priority. And there has to be some governing body to say, hey, listen. So the OIG is saying the EPA should be taking care of these things. They're not taken care of. Apparently this has been going on for a while. It's not something new. But yet still we wait. And the majority of us don't know what is happening. And we would hear of a water main break somewhere and say, oh, okay, this is happening. Let's go ahead and take steps to do something about that. But still, nothing gets done. You know what I mean? So, what happens? Where do we go from that point? The fact that public warnings about water safety violations are not being consistently issued is cause for grave concern. Seeing how prevalent water contamination around the US has become. It's not something new. It is not something that is random. It is happening more often across the US. Now, maybe there needs to be closer attention paid to where the exact areas that is happening in regions across the US. Just maybe. I didn't look that far into it. But maybe you can. You, the listeners. Maybe you can and then get back to me and tell me what you have found. A September 11, 2019 article in The Atlantic addresses the growing problem of lead contaminated water. Aside from the well-publicized lead controversies in Flint, Michigan, and Newark, New Jersey, U.S. cities known to have exceeded EPA action limits for lead include Portland, Oregon, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Providence, Rhode Island, Passaic, New Jersey, and Tualatin Valley. I've never heard of Tualatin Valley, but Tualatin Valley in Oregon. In Newark, after lead levels were found to exceed federal limits 3 times in a row in 2018, the city issued water filters to some of its residents. Some. Many others have been advised to drink bottled water ever since then. However, evidence suggests the problem goes back far longer than 2018. So, what happened to the people from before 2018 that has been drinking contaminated water? A report by The Atlantic quotes, a sample of Newark children under the age of 6 tested in 2016 found that about a quarter had measurable levels of lead in their blood. The following year, more than 22% of drinking water samples tested in the city were found to have levels of lead exceeding the federal limit. Fortunately, Newark is now in the process of replacing all lead service lines, all of them. The same cannot be said, however, for other areas. According to a National Resource Defense Council report, the NRDC, this report issued in 2018, EPA data showed nearly 30 million Americans drank water that violated the EPA's lead and copper thresholds between January 2015 and March 2018. Of those, an estimated 5.5 million were drinking water with lead levels exceeding the EPA's action level for lead, set at 15 parts per billion. When you see 15 ppb, that means 15 parts per billion. Now, again, I have to ask the question. Is nobody at all held responsible when things like this happen? You have 30 million Americans drinking water that violate the Environmental Protection Agency's lead and copper thresholds. And nothing is done about that? If someone that has HIV or, well, if someone has AIDS, full-blown AIDS, and they knowingly have sex with people without protection, they can be tried for attempted murder. In fact, I believe they can be tried for murder. Why is nothing being said about these individuals who are responsible for raising flags, giving warnings, giving notices, letting the public know about these dangers? The only thing they're going to say is, oh, well, based on some reports, it looks like. Okay. So if based on some reports, it looks like, that means that information is out there that can justify these reports. Because you have to get the data from somewhere. Who's responsible for that data? And after seeing this data, who's responsible for acting on this data? So a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, you're going to say, oh, well, we've noticed that. So what is happening right now is we're putting an action plan a plan into action. And we are taking steps to remedy the situation. But you're remedying a situation that has already affected more than 30 million people. And since this is not something that is fixed everywhere, would one go overnight? What happens to those that are affected? And okay, let's say you do issue this warning. Who is paying for the water filters that have to be purchased in these homes? Okay, some water filters were issued. What about those who have to be buying bottled water? Who is taking care of that? Is there a system put in place? Because I don't really know what is happening in these cities and how their water is being provided to their municipalities, to their residents. What is happening? How are they taking care of their residents? Because these individuals are paying taxes. The taxes are supposed to be put in place, the taxes are supposed to be used to make sure that the residents are taken care of. It's supposed to be taking care of basic needs for the residents of the community that is paying the tax. So, what has the money been used for? When it comes to something as necessary, something as basic as drinking water. In a country like the United States of America. What? We're going to take a quick little break. When we'll come back, we're going to talk some more. Call a friend, tell a friend. It's a night shift with DJ Kevin Stews. I think we call Healthy Love. We're looking at Hazardous H2O. What kind of water running out of your faucets? Do you know? I suggest you check with your local water utilities and ask the question. Really and truly, they're mandated to give you an answer. We'll be right back.
Pulsey Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsey Media Group.
Are you crazy about the music industry? You aspire to hit it big in music? Or maybe you've sweated out a soulful killer beat and are now stuck finding it's not as easy as it looked. Oh, but it can be easy for you with JTMC. We've been there, we know how it feels, so we solve challenges like production, promotion, marketing, branding and development, and more. With over 30 years of experience, JTMC is a one-stop shop for artists. We handle your graphic design, writing services, PR, as well as event planning, e-blasts, artist management, and bookings, so also your website and social media needs as well. We're experts in using creativity to persuade audiences on behalf of artists, drawing on our diverse experience to create projects that connect with audiences intellectually and emotionally. Artist success is everything to us, and our years of experience and commitment will be behind you for every one of your needs. If you've got music for the world to hear, whether you're a new or established artist, visit us at jtmcenterprise.com.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in physics, I learned that I'm a loser.
Today in school,
In math,
I learned that I'm ugly
I
and
learned
useless.
that I'm trash.
And in gym,
In biology,
I learned that I'm
I
pathetic
learned that I'm fat
and a
and
joke.
stupid.
In history,
Today in
I learned that
school,
I'm trash.
Today in school, I learned that I have no friends. In English, I learned that I make people sick.
And in
And at lunch, I learned that I sit on my own because I smell.
and a joke.
In chemistry, I learned that no one likes
In
me.
biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid.
In English,
And in
I
math,
learned that I make people
I
sick.
learned that I'm trash.
The only thing I didn't learn in school today
The only thing I didn't learn today
The only thing I didn't learn,
It's why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov, a message from the Ad Council.
Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." With this in mind, and encouragement received during a South Florida media conference, The Church Links was birthed. The Church Links is an interdenominational worship service portal for churches, providing the tools to spread the word through technology in a cost-effective way. The Church Links, www.dahchurchlinx.com. Your links to worship and praise.
It's Christina representing for DJ Kevin. You see me, I say, I don't know the boss. You see me, I say, DJ Kevin's Stew and the night shift radio show. Yo, it at the thing, turn up the thing loud. Whoa, DJ Kevin's Stew at the heart of a champion. Never underestimate, just choose him. The silver line behind the dark clouds. DJ Kevin's Stew believe him, and that's no doubt. Salute the night shift radio show, Christina. It's a hot it up loud. The beast.
The fuss and fight. The youth them just a war and them a lose them life. Better them go find a little hustle and go put on the gun. We don't know, but the system a turn them in a outlaw. And be sure them a get charged with murder. But the youth them a get out of order. And them no care about no officer. What kind of world are we living in? Pure violence and crime. What kind of world are we all the time? What kind of world are we living in? Pure violence and crime. What kind of world are we living in? Youth them a lose them mind. What I really want them now penetrate. Sit down in a office and a hesitate. Them should have tried give the youth them a future before it's too late. Before the violence that broke out like cancer, better than go try find the answer. Look how much people get slaughtered, and still yet them don't know their father. What kind of world are we living in? Pure violence and crime. What kind of world are we living in? Too much killing all the time. What kind of world are we living in? Pure violence and crime. What kind of world are we living in? You them a lose them mind. What kind of world? Say what kind of world? What kind of world are we living in?
Want to say welcome back and thank you to Pulse for sponsoring the first segment of the show. Thank you to Althea and her healing heavenly hands for sponsoring this segment of the show. Althea is a licensed massage therapist. She comes to you. She brings a table. She has her oils. All you have to do is call her 954-655-9000 or email her at thealater@att.net. That's THEALATER @att.net. I got those heavenly healing hands laid on me today. They were much needed. And I can tell you, I feel so much better right now. What will my world be like without Althea's heavenly healing hands? Boy, I don't even know. But if you live in Broad County, North Miami-Dade or South Palm Beach County, give her a call. She'll come to you. And of course, the competition is still open. Almost there. Not quite there yet. Almost there. You can still have an opportunity to win your free massage courtesy of Althea and her heavenly healing hands. All you have to do is go to kevinstew.com, scroll down to the contact me section, and put in there, what platform did the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew start on? I have spoken about it on a number of occasions, but most recently, last Wednesday on Real Talk. No, it wasn't last Wednesday. It was the Wednesday before that. On Real Talk, I mentioned my beginnings. And I mentioned the beginnings of the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew and the station, the platform that I first aired on. You tell me what that station is, what that platform is, and you win yourself a free massage. And you could be overseas, that's fine. If you're coming to South Florida, in any of these regions, well, in any of these areas within the region that is covered by Althea, then you can get your massage. If you want to gift it to someone, feel free. It's available. It's giftable. Right? So go ahead and capitalize on that. Now, before the break, we made mention of the NRDC's report, where they mentioned that there was levels of unsafe levels of lead and copper in the water, right? And I'll tell you again, nearly 30 million Americans drank water that violated the EPA's lead and copper thresholds between January 2015 and March 2018. That threshold is 15 parts per billion. Now, as noted in that report, 15 parts per billion is not a safe level, but rather the level at which mandatory action is required to reduce the amount of lead in the water to avoid health complications. Here's something that is even a little bit more interesting when it comes to that information. The 15 parts per billion action level is based on adult metabolism, not children's. So in reality, you have to note that no amount of lead is considered safe at any age, even by the EPA. No amount of lead. But you don't hear any reports of anybody being arrested. You don't hear any reports of anybody losing their jobs. You don't hear any reports of anybody being fined. Now, this goes right back to what was mentioned earlier. Drinking water infrastructure in the US is breaking down, and the appropriate investments have not been made to keep the infrastructure safe. In Newark, many of the service lines are a century old, 100 years old. Water treatment technology is also lagging behind in many areas. The Atlantic again noted, saying, according to the NRDC Senior Director for Health Programs, Eric Olson, replacing all the lead service lines in the US could cost $30 billion. Okay, pause for a moment. Well, actually, let me finish the quote, the excerpt. It's a hefty seeming sum, but that's the kind of investment that society made when these water systems were built 100+ years ago. We have been living off the investments of our great-grandparents for decades. So, 30 million is what it could cost to replace these pipes. How much is one of those lives that was affected? How much does one of those lives cost? What's the value of one of those lives? Go ahead, put a price tag on it. Anybody. You're talking about $30 million. What is $30 million to the health and safety of a whole city? Seriously? You want to tell me that the people who are in these positions don't have the foresight to say that there's going to be maintenance that is required on these systems? They're collecting for water being provided because everybody have to pay a water bill, whether it is in your rent or you're paying it directly. Everybody is paying for water. You're telling me that in these payments over the course of 100 years, nothing was put aside for maintenance of these systems? Seriously? I find that hard to believe. Historically, for 5 decades, Flint, Michigan. Now everybody knows about Flint. And if you don't know about it, at least you've heard the name Flint. In Flint, Michigan, it has been received its water from Detroit, originating in Lake Huron. In 2013, a tragic decision was made to temporarily supply the city with water from the Flint River as a cheaper alternative until a new water pipeline could be built coming directly from Lake Huron. A study conducted by Mark Edwards of the Flint Water Study Research Group demonstrated that water from the Flint River was 19 times more corrosive to lead than original water from Detroit. The Flint River and its tributaries drain an agricultural region in Genesee and Saginaw counties. Soybean, corn, wheat, and hay are the main crops in Genesee County. Glyphosate is heavily used on these crops, both to control weed and for dry down at harvest. Stay with me here. This is going somewhere. Saginaw County is a major supplier of sugar beets, which are generally engineered to be Roundup ready. The river has also served as an unofficial waste disposal site for refuse from local industries on its shores, including meat packing plants and paper mills. A likely reason why the water was so effective at stripping lead from the pipes is glyphosate contamination in the water. The first patent on glyphosate, issued in 1961, was for an application that involved its use as a descaling agent to clean mineral deposits from pipes and boilers in residential and commercial hot water systems. You got all that, right? Everybody, you got that. Nothing went over your head just now, right? Cool. Let's go on. So, the glyphosate essentially shellated the lead out of the pipes and transferred it into the water. Once the water was consumed, the lead detached from the glyphosate in the person's stomach, thus contributing to lead toxicity. A recent Frontline documentary, Flint's Deadly Water, look it up, points out that part of the issue was a water treatment plant that had been out of operation for many years and was not functioning properly when the water supply was first switched. Chlorine treatment is effective for breaking down glyphosate non-enzymatically, but was likely inadequate under the unusual circumstances of this water switch. So, here we go again, asking the questions. If my questions are far-fetched and out of order, please let me know. If not, help me to ask them. Who is responsible for this? How is it that you're going to switch a water supply from one that is deemed safe to one that is unsafe? How do you switch a water supply without doing tests? So, if you're going to say to me, well, tests were done and the water was proven to be safe for consumption. Okay, safe based on what levels? Safe based on what tests? You have major farming going on with the use of a poisonous substance, because it is poisonous, which runs off into this water that is being used to supply a whole city with drinking water. One of the preventative measures is adding chlorine to the water. one of the facilities, one of the major facilities that is supposed to be used to treat this water that is being provided to this city for consumption was not in operation. And you're going to say, oh, don't worry about it. Let's go ahead and channel the water anyway. Even though the method by which to make sure that it is safe for consumption is not in place. And that was okay to do. Mind you, I had not done any recent follow-up on the Flint, Michigan drinking water issue to see if there has been any prosecutions or anything, but I cannot recall hearing of any. So, if I am wrong in saying this, someone please correct me. 773-789-STEW. Go to kevinstew.com, jump into the stew pot. You can comment anonymously. Feel free. I'm not going to do the research right now as I'm presenting this. I'm presenting this to just raise some awareness of what is going on. You need to do your work. Nobody should be doing it for you. You are being provided with contaminated water. Who is going to make the outcry for you? You want somebody to cry for you about it? When you're the one that is exposed to it, you're the one who's going to have to go to the hospital to get treated. You're the one who is going to end up probably dying because of it. Somebody should fight that battle for you. And you do what? Let your voice be heard. That is why you have a voice. You don't have it for decoration. So here we are, being fed with contaminated drinking water. To what end? What happens when we consume enough of this contaminated water? Anything good? I don't think so. So we do what about it? Sit back and say, woe is me, woe is me. They're giving me contaminated water to drink. Let me go over here and spend more money that I am not making because the infrastructure for me to make money is also not in place. Because I can't get a job. There are no jobs in my community. The same community that is being pumped with, being supplied with contaminated water. So I can't buy bottled water. I can't afford it. I can't get a water filtration system because I can't afford it. And I cannot go to the doctor because I can't afford it. And I need this medication that the same leaders of the pharmaceutical companies that are leaders of the companies that provide the insecticides and the pesticides to take care of farming needs that are contaminating the water are providing. You see, wait, did you miss all that? You think I'm making it up? I'm not making it up. You follow the money trail. Connect the dots. Ask the questions. Do the research. See what happens. See what information you come up with. Because if they're not sitting on the same boards, if they're not rubbing shoulders, if they're not hanging out on the golf course, then they should be knocking heads. They should be at war against each other. Somebody should be calling and pointing fingers, calling names and pointing fingers. But that is not being done. Because nobody calls their own name nor points a finger at themselves. So we end up with what situation? We end up just taking whatever it is that we're given and roll over and die? Because ultimately, that is where it seems we're going to end up if we continue along that line. Again, chlorine treatment, effective for breaking down glyphosate. But the treatment plant, which had been out of operation for many years, was still not functioning when the switch was made. The treatment plant that was right there to provide the chlorine to take care of the glyphosate, that really causes major problems to human health. But it wasn't an issue because the powers that be don't live in the community that is being supplied with this contaminated water. Nobody asking questions. Oh, I know. The people that are asking the questions don't have much of a voice, and they don't get heard. They're not the ones that are hobnobbing and shooting that round of golf. Pardon me as I play through. Pardon me as I interrupt your golf game. Because my child is drinking water that is being provided from a source that is contaminated. And I am going to have to make sure that I can pay for the hospital bill to try and bring him back to a place of good health as a result of your negligence. Time for another break. But if nobody is saying anything, should nothing be said? Should it just be okay that all this is happening? Should it just be left alone to happen? Should it be just allowed? Come on, people. We need to do better. All of us, the ones who should be talking out about it and the ones who should be doing something to prevent it from happening. We're all in the same community, so it's all of us. We're gonna be right back. When being in the moment is priceless, consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.
JTMZ Music presents the highly anticipated, much talked about, The Juggling Rhythm Volume 1. This classic rhythm takes on a new life with tracks from both established artists and introduces some incredible new voices. Get your dancing shoes ready with the Juggling Rhythm, featuring international reggae dancehall artist Mr. Vegas, alongside Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson, Jack Radix, Hezron, Dangling, Joanna Marie featuring Galaxy P, Denny Ranks featuring Jawiz, Ambalik, Christine Alicia, Yishka. Also the new sensations on the rhythm: Zeal, Danger Lee, Marquis Skelenar, Zachary. Available on all digital media outlets. The Juggling Rhythm. Get it, get it, get it.
It takes an entire village to raise a child. Hello, I'm Paul Campbell, here to talk about Palace. Peace and Love Academic Scholarship. This non-profit group supports students facing serious obstacles from entering or continuing their studies, not because the grades are failing, but due to the lack of financial support.
Over the past 8 years, Palace has awarded 600 scholarships valued at approximately 50.3 million Jamaican dollars, or 415,000 US dollars.
Together, we must build a better future for our children. Please visit www.palace1.org and make your donation to brighten the future of a deserving child. Palace, preserving young minds for posterity.
I'm in almost every school bus in class. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Cara Manti, and you're listening to DJ Kevin Stew, and this is The Night Shift.
Eyes open up, I'm waking up. The life you love, me not give up. It got me close, so do it up. I just team the walk. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. If you're all every time I say, just know you are not penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just know you are not penny nobody. So when you're meditating, I got money, good life you're penetrating. You want those big straight elevating. Go hard right now, no waiting. The question is what you do today, king. You can't cheat life, that I know debating. You have to put in the work, forget the great things. All night, all day, till you see the scrapings. Ching. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say. Just know you are no penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just know you are no penny nobody. Me I beg your overs when you talk. Me no mean you fi work hard. When me mean is your face man, massa. Cause some who know a go hard. Now see ma who know yard. Always pan guard, no sir. You fi include the master. Overstand say that a the forecaster. Get balance with God in the center. So everything you want, you will get that faster. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say. Just know you are no penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just know you are no penny nobody. You can't fail if you try no way. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say. Just know you are no penny nobody. Right now while your office today, go all out and no go halfway. You can't win, that is all I say. Just know you are no penny nobody. I'm waking up. The life you love, me not give up. It got got me trust, so do it, so do it. I just, I do team the work. Eyes open up, so I'm waking up. Feeling down, giving down. You got me trust, so do it, so do it. I just. You can't fail if you try to play. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say. Just do one open nobody. You can't fail if you let God.
It seems that I'm pressing buttons and not realizing which ones I'm pressing when I'm pressing them.
One open nobody.
I have too many buttons to press.
You try to play. Let God be your guide all day. Give your all every time I say.
Since I've already pressed this button, I want to say big ups to JTMC Enterprise and thank you for sponsoring this segment of the show. JTMC will take care of your tour management needs, your entertainment needs, your bookings, your promotions, your event management. Did I say event management? Yeah, your social media needs. All you have to do is just give them a call. 954-300-2574. That's 954-300-2574. And thanks again to Althea for sponsoring the previous segment. JTMC for taking care of this one. As we take it home before we get into our musical therapy. That was Caramanti from her new album called Hurt People. The track is called Eyes Open Up. Alright, so here we are looking at contaminated water sources and lines. Well, I guess you don't have one without the other. You have the contaminated water source and you have the lines providing water that, because of the age of these lines, you still end up with contaminated water, even if you're getting your water from a cleaner source. The increased presence of lead in drinking water is actually made worse by the fact that most areas are still adding fluoride to their municipal water supplies. Now, for those who don't know, research shows fluoride actually leaches lead from water pipes with lead that are a part of them. So you have these lead-based water pipes. The fluoride is going to draw the lead out of the pipe into the water. That now increases the levels in the water. And as reported by Fluoride Action Network back in 2005, so this has been a long time known, a combination of chloramines and fluorosilicic acid or fluorosilicic acid, especially with extra amounts of ammonia, leaches lead from meters, solder, and plumbing systems, according to Richard P. Maas, PhD, and Stephen C. Patch, PhD, co-directors of the Environmental Quality Institute at the University of North Carolina, Asheville. Chloramine, a combination of chlorine and ammonia, is a water supply disinfectant. Fluorosilicic acid, the chemical used by over 91% of U.S. fluoridating communities, attempts to improve dental health in those who drink it. Maas said, tests showed lead levels 3 and 4 times higher in water with that combination of chemicals. These findings may help explain earlier published peer-reviewed research by Roger Masters, PhD of Dartmouth College, and Myron Copeland. Their studies show a link between water fluoridation status and elevated blood lead in children. Elevated blood lead levels are linked to developmental delays in children age 6 and fetuses. Lead can adversely affect almost every organ and system in the body. The most sensitive is the central nervous system. Hope you're paying attention, particularly in children. Lead also damages kidneys and the reproductive system. Now, if lead is in the drinking water that is being supplied to a particular group of people, then what is happening? Right. That group of people are, 1, going to be very sick. 2, not going to reproduce very well. And if they do, they're producing more sick individuals. And 3, pretty much going to die out. What are we thinking? Are we thinking? Recent media reports also warn that cases of Legionnaire's disease, a severe and potentially lethal form of pneumonia, have been covered up, putting people's health at serious risk. The Legionella bacterium thrives in warm, fresh water and is typically contracted by inhaling contaminated water vapor. It is not contagious between individuals. In Flint, Michigan, a widespread outbreak of Legionnaire's disease coincided with the city's switch to Flint River water. Pay attention to what is happening, people. In this case, residents were left in the dark, not just about rising lead levels in their water, but also about the presence of this deadly bacterium. As reported by PBS, it was one of the largest outbreaks of Legionnaires in history in the US, killing 12 and sickening more than 90 people. Well, those are the official numbers. You know that there are some unofficial numbers too. Unofficially, a review of death records suggests the death toll may have been far greater than the 12 that was mentioned, as 115 residents died from pneumonia during the years of the outbreak, which lasted from 2014 through 2016. According to PBS, epidemiologists and infectious disease specialists told us that some of those people could have been Legionnaire's disease cases that were left undiagnosed, untreated, and ultimately uncounted. Disturbingly, NBC reports clusters of Legionnaires are still popping up in Flint to this day. In October 2019, between January 1 and August 30, 2019, there were 16 confirmed cases. Flint, Michigan is not the only place where Legionella bacterium is wreaking havoc, though. And it is not the only place that is being covered up by authorities. A May 6, 2019 article in The Sun reported the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs covered up Legionella contamination at a Loma Linda hospital in 2017, putting both patients and staff at great risk. Between 2017 and 2018, the hospital's water supply tested positive for Legionella no less than 33 times. But staff was not informed of the findings until June 2018, after a whistleblower complaint had been filed. So somebody had to inform on them. It had to come from the inside. Reported by The Sun, quote, Department of Veterans Affairs officials failed to notify physicians in 2017 about Legionella bacteria found at the VA Medical Center in Loma Linda, posing a public health danger and possibly causing at least one doctor to contract potentially fatal Legionnaire's disease, according to a federal report. The 26-page VA report substantiates a whistleblower complaint filed in February 2018 with the U.S. Office of Special Counsel by 2 doctors and 6 nurses at the Jerry L. Pettis Memorial VA, who alleged hospital officials concealed the Legionella discovery for months. The report acknowledges, despite evidence in 2017 of Legionella in the Pettis Medical Center's water system, VA officials didn't develop an effective strategy to deal with the problem until contacted in June 2018 by the Southern California News Group. What? So, this is being covered up under whose direction? We know who covering it up, but who is instructing them to cover it up? So you can't just look at those who are doing the cover up. You have to look further than that, because these people are acting under instructions. Similarly, in February 27, 2019 article in Georgia Health News reports cases of Legionnaire's disease in Georgia have risen 4-fold over the past decade, from 43 in 2008 to 189 in 2018, and 5-fold across the US since the year 2000. Now, surprisingly, 80% of the Georgia outbreaks have occurred in healthcare facilities. As for why the disease is on the rise across the US, no one knows. But it is likely due to a convergence of factors, aging infrastructure, but being one of them. The aging infrastructure that is being referred to is that of the water piping supply, or the water piping system, I should say. Now, basically, one of the takeaways from this that you need to pay attention to is you cannot rely on authorities to warn you about potential problems with your water. And in many cases, public notices will be issued, but there are no guarantees. Sometimes violations fall through the cracks due to poor documentation reporting or oversight. And we've seen that, as it was highlighted in the OIG report. Other times, violations are just blatantly covered up. Whether it be for political reasons or financial reasons, nobody knows. Really and truly, I don't care. They're being covered up. And while lead and Legionella were the focus of what we've been talking about. These are not the only concerns. A 2017 analysis by the Environmental Working Group of water samples from nearly 50,000 water utilities in 50 states found 267 different kinds of toxins, including 93 that are linked to cancer and 63 suspected of causing developmental harm to children. Among these hundreds of chemicals of concern, chromium 6, an industrial chemical that is not regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act, was found in drinking water in all 50 states. And it was found at levels above those thought to pose a cancer risk, as well as 1,4-dioxane, which is an industrial solvent. Nitrates stemming from industrial agriculture were also found at potentially risky levels. This is the water that is in our drinking supply. Your safest bet, what is recommended basically the most, is to take precautions to keep your family safe by getting water filtration systems installed in your homes. As for the type that you get, there are a variety of options, most of which have both benefits and drawbacks. Apparently there is no one size fits all. But some of the most common options would be your reverse osmosis, your ion exchange, your granular carbon and carbon block filters, and these would pretty much be the main types out there, the most familiar options, the most common options. Look into them, do your research, ask your questions, demand answers, but recognize first and foremost that you have to take care of you, and you have to take care of yours, because apparently those that are in place to make sure that you're comfortable in providing the basics for your family and for yourself, they don't care about one of the most essential when it comes to the basics in your home. Water. Not just any water. The water that is piped into your home. Listen, we have one life, and there's only one person that can take care of it, and that's you. It's us. We're the only ones that can take care of our lives. And when you leave it up to someone else, that's a problem, because they're not going to be as concerned about you as you are going to be concerned about you. Bottom line. So, what are you going to do about it? Who is going to look about you? Who is going to look out for you? has to be you. Do the research, ask the questions, send the letters. Use your voice. Your health matters. It's the only thing we have left. And when that is being threatened, we're left with what? Right. Let's take care of ourselves, people. Nobody's going to do it for us. This is Brianna Jade. Track called Survivor.
Over the hills, trying to get there. This place where they say I find peace. I tried to get there on my own strength. I've tried to find a loophole to climb every wall, but I can't. But it's not for you to go through alone. You need a friend to guide you home, show you the way and hold your hand. You need a savior, savior man. Oh, wow, savior. Oh, wow, savior. Oh, wow, savior. Oh, wow, savior. I see something failing, rushing in the winds, drawing me closer with every bound. I tried to get there on my own strength. I've tried to find a loophole to climb every wall, but I can't. But it's not for you to go through alone. You need a friend to guide you home, show you the way and hold your hand. You need a savior, savior man. Oh, wow, savior. Oh, wow, savior.
Young Brianna Jade. Daughter of Wayne Stoddart.
Breathing in the air, reaching for the sky, choking on my fears, struggling to get by. Breathing in the reaching for the sky, I'm choking on my
Such talent. This here is brand new music from an artist that goes by the name Royce.
Bottles of champagne, your
A track called If I Loved You.
keeping up romance, wrote letters, 10 pages to tell ya I'm in it, I wanna stay, and I'll show you in every way. You're skeptical still. Well, I'm loving on you. And I'm super confused how my actions don't convince you. You're skeptical still. So I'll remind you. Not alone. If I loved you, you know you couldn't mistake it if you tried. If I loved you, you know you'd see it even if you're blind. It's bigger than the world, deeper than the ocean, hotter than the sun. Knowing when I love so. If I loved you, you know. Get takeout, stop binging on old films. Get dressed up, we go out. It's hard to make a choice. We're both indecisive. All I know, I'm in it, I wanna stay. And I'll show you in every way. You're skeptical still. Well, I'm loving on you. And I'm super confused how my actions don't convince you. You're skeptical still. So I'll remind you. You're not alone. If I loved you, you know you couldn't mistake it if you tried. If I loved you, you know you'd see it even if you're blind. It's bigger than the world, deeper than the ocean, hotter than the sun. Know it when you love so. If I love you, you know. I never told you I love you, I do. I never told you. I never told you I love you, I do. I never told you. It's easy to say, the harder to show you what I mean. So you just gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. I know you believe me. When I say, if I loved you, you know. If I couldn't mistake it if you tried. If I loved you, you know. See it even if you're blind. It's bigger than the world, deeper than the ocean, deeper than the ocean. Know it when I love so. If I love you,
There goes my heartbeat. You are the reason I'm losing my sleep. It's gone.
I want to say thanks to GMAT Music Solutions for sponsoring this segment of the show.
'Cause you are the reason
It's called our musical therapy segment.
I'm still breathing. It's so blessed. I'll climb every mountain and swim every ocean.
This is music from Little Kirk. GMAT Music Solutions will provide just what you need to bring your event to life. Musical equipment, PA systems, engineers, DJs, bands, musicians, singers, light and stage production services, you name it. GMAT Music Solutions can give it to you. Just give them a call, 754-307-GMAC. Tell them DJ Kevin Stew sent you, yeah? Taking this one once more from the tippy top. This is Kirk Davis. You may know him as Little Kirk. The track is called You Are the Reason.
There goes my heartbeat. You are the reason I'm losing my sleep. It's gone. There goes my mind racing. 'Cause you are the reason that There goes my red shade. You are the reason that I'm still breathing. If I could turn back the clock and make sure the light would fade the dark every hour, every minute spent with you. I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what is broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to I'll climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what is broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to
She left again. I'm so tired. 2 weeks.
This is Jack Radix.
Wouldn't even try.
Track called True to Myself.
If the bell rings, I wonder what I'll do.
19 minutes to the top of the hour, 19 more minutes before I get out of here.
I'll pick myself
and get ready for Real Talk Wednesday.
Kick myself through the door. But if the bell rings, I wonder what I'll do. Will I be true to myself and whisper in her ear? Yes. Or will I lie to myself and leave her standing there? Yes, Lord. I'll get myself someone new, rid myself of this misty blue. But then the phone rings, I wonder what I'll do. I ask myself, hey, what's the use? Then I tell myself some silly old excuse, and then the bell rings. Oh Lord, what do I do? Will I be true to myself and whisper in her ear? Yes. Or will I lie to myself and leave her standing there? Yeah. Oh, Shada,
Shada,
Shade,
Shade,
Lada,
Lada,
Day. Shada,
I love it.
I'll treat myself to a brand new car, drive me away to some place far away. But then the bell rings, and what you think I do? Oh, was I true to myself, whispering in her ear? Yes. Or was I lying to myself when I left her standing, just standing over there? Oh,
Bada do, bada day. Jack Raddick's track called True to Myself. This is King Charles, acoustically. Working out to Jordan.
Yeah.
The acoustic rendition of Juice.
Oh, well, what you know, girl, you got the moves, you got the juice, you got the flavor, got the sauce, oh yeah. Anywhere you wanna go, just say the word and you know I'ma take you there, oh yeah. Cause you need somebody remind you, and if you're feeling lost, I will find you. Oh, I just wanna make you mine, so waste no time. Change your life. You and I, yeah, will chase the skies, no limits. Yeah. If you want to, you can be my queen, and I will be your king forever. Yeah. If you want to, you can be my queen, and I will be your king forever. Oh, girl, you got the moves, you got the juice, you got the flavor, got the sauce, oh yeah. Anywhere you want to go, well, what you know, oh. And if you need somebody remind you, if you're feeling lost, I will find you. Oh, I just wanna make you mine, so waste no time. Change your life. You and I, yes, will chase the skies.
No limits. This is Jadan. That's the title of the track. Congo Bongo Empress.
Where you want me for you? I'm so proud to call you my empress.
Sometimes you need this kind of musical therapy because of what we're dealing with in our daily lives. That's why musical therapy is important. But that's why it's important to me. I don't know about you.
Congo, Bongo Empress. Are you a me African queen? Congo, Bongo Empress. Are you me queen of a dream? Congo, Bongo Empress. And are you make me sing? Congo, Bongo Empress. She's sophisticated. She well intelligent. And when me give her me money to go a market, no access to well spent. Ambition high, down to the earth, in our life. But Empress the thing sky high, spread out your wings and fly. Congo, Bongo Empress, are you a me African queen? Congo, Bongo Empress, are you me queen of a dream? Congo, Bongo Empress, and are you make me sing? Congo, Bongo Empress. Come from far. Yesterday me I look on the skies. Them say we wouldn't reach this far. We wouldn't reach this far. We love you, it's a my duty. And when me look on your face, me have to smile, what a beauty. Congo, Bongo Empress, are you a me African queen? Congo, Bongo Empress, are you? Make me sing, Congo, Bongo Empress. Where you want me for you? I'm so proud to call you my empress. And if all your plans with me, no time at all, I wouldn't second guess. I never want you to know, but I have to confess.
Kevin Stew.
Hold me tight. Eyes so deep, like the ocean so mysterious.
This is Tenille.
Boy, you make me feel.
Man, you're beautiful.
Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all. You make every obstacle seem so small. You bring joy and laughter, could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? Then man, you're beautiful. You make the sun come up on a rainy day. You're like the hurricane that blows my cares away. You keep me guessing with every move you make. Everything about you makes my heart quake. 'Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all. You make every obstacle seem so small. You bring joy and laughter, could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? And man, you're beautiful. Oh, 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 oh. What else can I say? And man, you're beautiful. Oh, 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 oh. What else can I say? A kaleidoscope of color. You are every force of nature, and you got me under your spell. Just like gravity, you pull me and can't get away. But I don't wanna be with nobody else. Cause you're so beautiful, flaws and all. You make every obstacle seem so small. You bring joy and laughter, could we live happy ever after? What else can I say? And man, you're beautiful. What else can I say?
I'm crazy, yeah. When I look into your eyes, well, I'm mesmerized, you amaze me. These feelings,
This is
so lonely.
Max Dupree is working out with Dangling,
By my side, my nightness.
courtesy of Groove Galore.
What have I to do? What have I to do?
Track is called Say I.
To have you by my side. You make me say I. Nobody take too long for me. Tell her that I got nobody try. No matter what it would have cost me, would I never make you pass me? Rock with You and I on a cruise through paradise. Champagne at dinner with the candlelight. Slow dancing real close to a lullaby. Romancing all night till the sunrise. Come on, baby, I can see it in your eyes. Show me what you got, baby, come alive. I can't wait to touch your body. The look in your eyes is so exciting. The way you're licking your lips is so erotic. I can't hide it, I'm so excited. Girl, I can't deny it. I know you were made for us. Say I. Nobody take too long for it. You make me say I. Say I.
take I empress. Me nah like woman, you live fight. Breathless, any given day or night. You are the best.
less stress. Every time you leave my side, I get so restless. You seem so endless, I act so reckless. You and your parties like living in the dark forever. But the sun shines bright when we are together. Anything that's good, girl, you make it better. You like the perfect day with the perfect weather.
Penzi langu mikwako lafanya ni feel high. Penzi langu mikwako lafanya ni feel high. I don't wanna be with no other. Baby girl, walk on each other turn. What if I do you? What if I do? To have you by my side.
Africa to Jamaica. I say I say I. But this one is dedicated to my baby. You know I love you, girl. But sometimes you take me out.
This is Jamiri.
Girl, I know I shouldn't.
Working out with Joe Mercer.
Taxation to my words when I know I shouldn't have told you.
Track called Shouldn't Have.
That's when you said it can't work. All I need is my queen to hold and squeeze me for the rest of my life. And I know I shouldn't have broken your heart, girl. When you said it can't work, see it's a late night and I've been drinking champagne. I might have said a couple rude things, baby. I need you next to me. I need you to hear my apology. Now that you claim we found love, so your friends don't judge. It's just between us, baby. Now that we have planned the rest of our life, all we need is trust. Baby, don't you fuss. Can't you see the time is wasting? Let's get on with our lives. Let's move on with our lives. Heart, yeah. Taxation to my words when I know I shouldn't have told you move on, yeah. When you say it can't work, all I need is my queen to hold and squeeze me for the rest of my life. And now I know I shouldn't have broken your heart, girl. When you say it can't work.
Remember how me take off your tall skirts. Now every memory started. Standing here still a search for the words. How to express my love to you, girl. So tell me who else am I really gonna talk to? When it's you alone, I pour my heart to. Hold on to me, love. Come in now, why you let go? So, over something small, we gon' make we kick off. And now we don't talk at all. No, me pay for half the yard and can't see me land. Lord, only you know. Up late one night and I work and she claims I'm in the studio. So to your phone no call at all because the situation stays so.
Girl, I know I shouldn't have broken your heart, yeah. Taxation to my words when I know I shouldn't have told you move on, yeah. When you said it can't work, all I need is my queen to hold and squeeze me for the rest of my life. And now I know I shouldn't have broken your heart.
Gonna bounce on out of here with some G. Cole. Yeah, that same guy that does G. Cole. Homegrown with G. Cole. Yeah, him. That G. Cole. Oh, you didn't know he could sing?
I'm gonna sing 'cause I'm certain
a whole album worth of it. And so
even find the words to really tell you what you were. Sometimes tears of joy.
Track is called Since You Came Into My Life.
Crying time, but baby everything feels right. Since you came into my life, since you came into my
from the album Ocho Rios.
It doesn't seem to rain again. Since you came into my life.
And this is where I bounce on out of here. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for sticking around.
I don't really feel this pain again.
It's been great since you came into my life.
Since you came into my life, I can feel a spark.
Happy hump day to you. Let me be the first to say it.
All the special things you've shown me,
Catch y'all later. Real Talk Wednesday.
I wanna plant you a field of roses.
AKA Marlon's favorite night shift show.
And I'm just hoping, girl, that you know that.
See you at 10 right here, kevinstew.com.
I know there'll be rough times and some stormy days. But if we build our home on true love, when it rains, it'll never be able to wash us away. Guess what we got is love. Since you came into my life, since you came into my life, it doesn't seem to rain again. Since you came into my life, I don't see this world the same again. Since you came into my life, I don't really feel this pain again. Since you came into my life, since you came into my life, I'm gonna say it 'cause I'm certain you're an angel here on earth. I can't even find the words to really tell you what you were. Sometimes tears of joy escape me, and I'm not the crying type, but baby, everything feels right. Since you came into my life, since you came into my
The
life.
moment is priceless. Consider the ability to share that moment. If you can video it, you can broadcast it. And Pulse E-Media Group has the tools you need. Weddings, birthdays, funerals, graduations, church services, parties, seminars, you name it. Pulse E-Media Group can provide you with a secure medium controlled by you to broadcast your event. Contact us at www.pulseemediagroup.com for more information. Pulse E-Media Group, when being in the moment is priceless.